Good evening and welcome. My name is Bella Desai. I'm the Vice President for Public Programs and Exhibitions at the Research Libraries here at the New York Public Library. I want to thank you all for being with us, those of you here in the room and those of you online on the live stream. Tonight, I'm pleased to introduce Aziz Abu Sarah and Maoz Inon. Aziz and Maoz are two lifelong peace activists who are now co-authors of a beautiful new book, The Future is Peace. In it, they write, "We do not see ourselves as Palestinians and Israelis or as Jews and Arabs, but as human beings who believe in fostering a culture of dialogue, a culture of forgiveness, and a culture of peace." Aziz and Maoz have both lost family to conflict in the Middle East, yet they forged an unlikely bond when the world expected them to become enemies. The New York Times describes the book as a short but immensely poignant account of a shared journey across Israel and the West Bank, and that it remains true to the horror while refusing to be defeated by it. It is raw with pain and rage, and yet bravely insistent on the imperative of hope. It is available for sale right outside this room, and if you didn't get a chance to pick up a copy on your way in, you can do so after their talk. Aziz and Maoz will be up here signing copies at the end of the event. And, of course, if you can't get a copy, you can always borrow one with your New York Public Library card. The spirit of unity and coexistence that Aziz and Maoz embody in their work has also been enshrined here at the library since its beginning. In 1897, 2 years after the library was born, a German-born Jewish philanthropist named Jacob Schiff gave the library a visionary gift for the purchase of Semitic literature. This gift made it possible for the New York Public Library to open a reading room that was dedicated to the reading and study of all Semitic literature in Hebrew and Arabic and many other languages. In that room, patrons could request and use Arabic, Persian, and Hebrew manuscript masterpieces alongside 19th century lithographs from across the Middle East and newspapers in a multitude of languages. That legacy continues today at the library through the work of the Dorot Jewish Division and our Middle Eastern and Islamic Studies. At the end of the conversation, Aziz and Maoz would be glad to take some of your questions. You should have received note cards when you came in. Please write your questions there, and some of my colleagues will come around periodically during the talk to collect them. If you're watching online, you can put your questions in the chat, and we'll catch them there too. Live from the New York Public Library is made possible by the continuing generosity of Celeste Bartos, Manaz Ispahani Bartos, and Adam Bartos, and of course, by all of you. Thank you for that support, and thank you again for being here. Please join me in welcoming Aziz Abu Sarah and Maoz Inon.
Hi, wow, what a beautiful room. Good evening, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Salam. Just, Bella, thanks you for your opening remarks. I want to start with that about the Semitic languages. I didn't know, till Aziz and I start working together, that the word for God, both in Hebrew and Arabic.
Maoz, we're not in a synagogue tonight.
I know,
it's a
this
library.
is why I just following.
He got used to do a sermon about God.
Soon, I just cannot resist. It's still Shabbat tonight. Both in Hebrew and Arabic, the word for God is salam and shalom. So we have so much in common between us, between our
which means peace for those who don't know Arabic.
Yes,
and
of course,
Hebrew.
peace. So we have so much in common, and it's amazing that you're here in New York Public Library also honoring that. And since we start working on the future is peace, one of the places we dream that we'll have the opportunity to share our story and the book is New York Public Library. So being here today is really a dream come true, and seeing all of you here, it's more than one dream. So thank you everyone for coming. And it's also, we are marking a month since the publication of The Future is Peace. And we had a beautiful review in the New York Times, and 3 times a New York Times bestseller on the list. And it's been an amazing journey, so would really be honored to share it with you. And this journey didn't start with smiles, it didn't start with hugs, it started with tears. And I started crying in the morning of October 7th, when I lost contact with my father. I spoke to him for the last time about 7:30 Saturday morning, and he shared with me, and they lived about quarter a mile from the border of Gaza. The wall was literally shadowing their house. And he shared with me that there is a war, that they can hear the shouting, the shooting, the bombs falling around them. So they lock the house and they are in the safe room. I was still waking up and told him, Daddy, I will get dressed, drink coffee, and I'll call you soon. And while I was doing that, I could see on the social media, like the wall is being falling, Toyota trucks of the Hamas in Sderot, my childhood hometown, and Hamas intruding to the communities, our communities, my parents' community. So just after seeing that, I called my father, only 5 minutes after I talked to him and my mom, and this time there was no answer. So I called my mom, and there was no answer. So I woke up my 3 sisters, my young brother, and we tried to reach out to them, to their neighbors, to people in their community, and no one, literally no one picked up the phone. Only in 4 of the afternoon, one of the neighbors picked the phone. And we asked him, we just want to know what's happening. Tell us what's going on. We don't need you to soft it for us. We don't need a delegation. Just tell us what's happening. And he told us. He told us that my parents' house is burned to ashes and that there are 2 bodies inside. Immediately, we have decided to start can we start the slides, please? Immediately, we have decided to start the Shiva, the Jewish way of mourning. And on the second day, Monday morning, it was my young brother who told us that we must reject revenge, that we should not avenge the death of our parents. And he explained it very logically, that it's not going to bring them back to life. It's only going to escalate the cycle of bloodshed, of terror, of fear. We, Palestinian Israelis, been trapped within for a century. And that it's up to us to cherish our parents' legacy, teaching, and life to start a new path, an alternative vision, a vision of peace and reconciliation. And the day after, I received a message from Aziz. I received a message that he's offering his condolences and that he's standing with me and with my family in this tragic time and moment. But I didn't really knew Aziz before that. We met briefly about a decade ago, back in 2014, for 10 minutes, and we become very, very good friends, but only in Facebook. And he reached out to me, and he had the courage and the empathy to share it with me. And in the last 2.5 years, we've been quartering The Future is Peace. I see him more than I see my wife. We are getting into way less fights than I'm getting to with my wife, I must say. But please don't tell it. And
I'm secretly recording. It's a blackmail.
And I'm privileged, and some of you have been hearing us many times in the last few months and maybe even year. I'm so honored and proud to say it again and again, that on October 7th, I lost not only my parents, I lost people I knew my entire life. I lost childhood friends, but I won Aziz. I won Aziz as a brother. Aziz, I love you.
Try to get something to read. That's why I picked up my phone. I was not ignoring Maoz.
This he do only to his wife, not to me.
Yes, yeah. We both see each other quite a lot. and it's beautiful, so I'm happy we do. Here we go. I think I got it. So, no, I don't. Well, I remember. It's okay. I was gonna start actually by saying this is, we both peacemakers. We both work together on how to have difficult conversation, recognize each other, understand each other, and me reaching out to Maoz, and in the Future's piece, you'll see we talk about recognition quite a bit, and recognizing his pain and his story and where he's coming from. And today is May 15th, which for many Palestinians is a terrible day. It's a memory of the Nakba, which means the catastrophe in Arabic, where many of us remember loss of home, loss of family members, loss of identity, even in some ways, that didn't even end in that day or that year, but continue to haunt us, and we continue to live through it. And so it's very important, and this is a conversation Maoz and I do talk about. It's very important to bring it on. And in the Futures piece, we talk about that. We don't shy away from those conversations. We talk about, we go to Jaffa, for example, which used to be a culture of, a city of culture for Palestinians. And we talk about the experience of people who ended up refugees, and we talk about people who stayed and their experience as well. And one of the most powerful things I know I've heard from one of the people we interviewed, Abed Abu Shahade, he said, I asked him, what did your grandfather tell you about Jaffa? And he said, Jaffa, according to my grandfather, was paradise. And I said, but was it? And he said, well, we all know probably not. There was corruption, there was social issues, like any other city in the world. But then he said, philosophically speaking, heaven is what we don't have. And so in our memory, Jaffa is the most beautiful thing in the world. And I spend a lot of time in Jaffa. When I'm back home, I try to stay more in Jaffa than Jerusalem, which is where I grew up, because Jaffa has a beach and Jerusalem. With global warming, it might one day, but at the moment, it doesn't have a beach. So I love Jaffa quite a bit. That there's a story in Arabic culture that says when God created everything, he would look at it and says, it's well done, it's been done, it's good, right? That's what the Bible says. And then he created Jaffa, and he said, it's beautiful. So it's, I just wanted to bring that on in the beginning. But to connect to Maoz's part of the story, this is, oh, I think my thing is not working, my clicker. There we go. Let me see if it is working now. Okay, that's me, the little kid here. Yeah,
it was cute,
thank
right?
you.
It was
Hi.
really cute.
Looks cute, and usually the second thing is like, wow, what happened to you? Yeah, it's all right. This is me with my older brother Taysir, I was 5 or something like that in this photo. He's 9 years older than me. I grew up in Jerusalem during the occupation. Now I was shot at probably first time when I was 7 or 8 years old, and my brother Taysir was taken from home on suspicion of throwing rocks. He refused to confess to the charges. He was beaten up, tortured, which led to his death soon after he was released from prison. Taysir was more for me a parent than a brother. I'm the youngest of 7. I'm what you call the oops child. I was not planned for, and it meant when you have so many brothers and sisters, and especially one that's a few years older, he was a person who took me to school the first day of school, all of that. And so after his death, I was quite angry, quite bitter, and wanted revenge. And that's my life for the next 8 years. From 10 until 18, this is all I thought about, until at 18, I went to study Hebrew in an ulpan, which is where Jewish immigrants go to learn Hebrew. And I was the only Palestinian there. And that was my first time meeting an Israeli who treated me like a human being. And that kindness, that reach out, kind of like I reached out to Maoz, somebody else reached out to me, this is what makes people, I think, a big part of what makes us peacemakers or not. Reaching out to each other in times when we need it, that breaks stereotypes, it's very important. And it wasn't just the reach out, it was also the recognition. She recognized my story, my identity, where I come from, and treated me with such incredible kindness. Even though I was determined in that class, I was so angry as a young teenager that I was determined I'm gonna learn Hebrew without talking to anybody. Which I learned I'm not that smart. So I gave up on this idea, and I started talking to people, and really what set me up on this journey and understanding that what brings us together and what divides us should not be nationality, religion, color, race, any of those things. What brings us together should be values, and what divides us should be values. So if you believe in equality, in justice, in peace, those are the values that matter. And if Maoz and I agree on those values, then that's what binds us together, and it's stronger than anything else. So let's agree that what divides us is those of us who believe in equality, and justice, and peace, and those who don't yet.
Yeah. So as you start talking about the journey, so we both been through journeys that changed our life. So we both loved going on journey. That what made both of us tourism entrepreneurs and to work in the travel industry. And we both love books. We really love books. We are keen readers, and in the future is peace. We combine both. It's a journey, and of course it's a book. And I would like to read you
It doesn't mean
section.
we always agree on what books.
Yeah, all music, but
Yeah. I'm helping Maoz slowly.
very slowly, but we'll get there. So I want to read a section, and also I must share that also my parents loved book very, very much. My mother there was always a book. My mother was always reading something, and they also were reading night stories for us. Every night there was a reading time. The first day were reading to us, and when the kids were, after we learned to read, we were reading books, and of course we were doing the same, my wife Shlomit and I, with our kids. Yeah, so this is also one of the reasons it was so important for us to be here. So I would like to read a section from the third day. The book is a journey that takes a shared journey that goes on for 8 days. And we are inviting you to join us. We are guiding you through this journey. And on the third day, we are reaching El Azariah, Aziz's childhood hometown. And we are sitting in the house. Aziz was born and raised. The house, his brother was kidnapped by the Israeli soldiers early morning during the Ramadan. And we are sitting in the living room, and that's the memories and thoughts I had while we were there. Winona, maybe you will bring me the glasses. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, now I can see you. I was 8 years old, almost the same age as Taisir would have been when my family Oops child was born. I had 3 sisters, and from the moment my parents told us they were having another baby, I wished for a little brother. We, 4 siblings, made a deal with my parents that if the baby was a girl, my mother and sisters would get to choose their name. And if it was a boy, my father and I would name him. I will never forget the day my Aunt Irit, my father's younger sister, came to tell us that our mother had given birth to a boy. I cried tears of joy. On the day my mother was to come home with the baby, my father took me with him to the hospital. On the way, we chose the name. We chose the name Magen, which means shield in Hebrew. At the hospital, I held my brother for the first time. He was swaddled in a blanket and sleeping soundly. He looked so tiny and peaceful. In that moment, I made a promise that I would always keep him safe. I held Magen in my arms the whole way home. It was the happiest day of my life. Looking up at the portrait of Taysir that was taken just days before he died, I knew in my heart that he had felt the same on the day Aziz was born. Taysir that looked out for his little brother, the way I'd always looked out for Magen. I knew how proud he would have been of the man Aziz had become. I turned to my friend and said, Aziz, the day you were born was the happiest day of Taysir's life, and he was proud of you, till the day he died and beyond. Yeah, I need a moment.
Okay, well, so I can tell you a couple of things we've been doing in addition to the book. So the book goes through 8-day journey. We experience a lot of things, and it's kind of, it starts with a friendship, it ends up with the brotherhood. That's the journey. And we meet many people, we tell their stories through the writing, because the goal isn't just to tell my story and Maoz's story. There are many others who live there. So we don't go to Gaza because we couldn't, but we tell a story of some people from Gaza that we interview, and we tell what they endured. We go to the West Bank, we go into Galilee, we go into a kibbutz, and so we tell so many of those stories. But one of the things we keep everywhere we go, people keep asking us, so what's your plan? How do you make peace happen? And we recently met one of the main negotiators in the Liberian peace deal after the civil war there. And he was in the room. And we asked him, how did it work? And he said, be careful. Many people will criticize you too, because you don't have where the lines are going to go, how exactly the solution is going to happen. But that's not what makes a deal work or not. It's never about where the line is going to go. It's always about conflicted identity. It's always about the heart. It's always about human condition. It's always about greed. It's a mindset. It's not, oh, we can't agree, is it 10 meters to the left or 10 meters to the right? And it's like, what you're doing is you putting your hand on the right thing, on the right issue, which is inspiring hope, telling the story. And so Maoz and I co-founded an organization through this journey called Interact. And some of the things we wanted to do is to tell stories. Telling stories is very important. We wanted to ask people to amplify those stories. The reason we write a book, we make a film, we do other things, films, is we want to tell stories. And we want to amplify that story. And that's why we are here, to ask you to amplify those stories. We'll meet with anybody and we'll talk to anybody who's willing to amplify it. And we'll want to legitimize these stories, which is why we end up at places that we never thought we will be at. Places like this one. Incredible place. But not just because, I was going to say, not just because we wanted to meet the Pope, we really wanted to meet Pope Francis. Even more, the night before, I told Maoz, and Marie was there, Shlomit was there, others, and I told them, I think I would like to hug Pope Francis. And everybody laughed at me. And then it happened, because he opened his arms and gave us the biggest hug you can imagine. It was before this moment. But also he asked, how can I help you? And because of this moment, we changed the policy of the G7 meeting. The big industrial countries, the biggest, the more powerful, had for years, we've been trying to convince them to use a language about peacemaking in their communique. And they've completely ignored us. Not just ignored us, wouldn't even meet with us. And then he asked us, what can I do for you? And we're like, well, you're going to the G7 meeting in 4 weeks. It would be helpful if. And he goes, okay. And he takes our paper. And if you read the communique from 2024, it's word by word what we have asked from Pope Francis. That's what amplification of peacemaking means. So we have to ask you, who do you know? And I'm not joking, who do you know that can amplify this message? Every success we've had in the last 2 years, it's because somebody said, let me think, how can I amplify this message? Every success, every place we've been to, every story we were able to push out, including writing The Future is Peace. Neither of us in UN Agent, we didn't know how to get to Crown, which is unbelievable publisher, but because somebody heard us and said, let me connect you to this person. He's a book agent who's very well connected. We couldn't have asked for somebody better than Ideas Architect, Doug Abrams, and Winona, who's here, who made this book really happen. But it's because somebody said, I'm going to make that connection. We underestimate our power of the kind of connection we can do to make this kind of work happen. We know Maoz and I would never have been able to write this story, would never have been able to meet with Francis, or to meet with Pope Leo, or to meet with your favorite...
Pope John.
The third Pope, yeah.
How many people you know that met 3 popes?
Or to carry the Olympic torch together.
Yes, that's the power of symbolism. Because now what we see on media, unfortunately, even though tonight you're going to see us on
No, it's not airing tonight. It's pre-recorded.
Okay, but I think it's airing tonight. But okay, you will see us
Next
tomorrow
week,
night.
that's
next
what
week.
Stacey
Okay, next week, sorry. But you will see us next week. But what we see in media are bombs and killing and arguing and debates and hate and fear. So when we are able to create a symbol for peace, a symbol for reconciliation, like the Olympic torch, that's how we can break this polarization, to counter hate, to counter fear, through creating a symbols that, starting from the Greek, the ancient Greek, to the modern Olympic game. So when the mayor of Verona approached us a few months before the Olympic torch was crossing his city, of course we said yes. And when we were there during the evening, all the politicians in the region came from right and left. It was, again, a unifying moment. And they needed a Palestinian and Israeli to unify their region. And they were all standing together. And when we start carrying and marching with the torch, we start chanting, Pace, Salam, Shalom. And hundreds of people through the streets of Verona were chanting with us. So that's, again, what made it into a headline news in Italy, and what also was able to bring it to the media in Palestine and Israel, because it's become world news. So we need to create more symbols like that. And through symbolism, we can transform despair, because we are in a moment of despair. And we've been meeting communities and going to universities and cities in the US for the last two and a half years, and definitely back home in Palestine and Israel. The level of despair, the level of trauma, of pain, of fear and death is reaching to levels we didn't not experience only in our lifetime, but in a century-long conflict. So in order to transform despair into hope, we must show them how to do it. And this is why we are saying, and sometimes even like today, we came from a shared memorial event for the Nakba, where both Israelis and Palestinians, Jews, Muslim, and Christian were gathering together, because what we learned and what we are also proving in the Future is Peace, that the first step to reach a shared future, a shared society, is knowing the other side narrative. We should not erase, we should not wall, we should not hide the other side. Only by looking to the other side in the eyes, recognizing his pain, his trauma, expressing our empathy, being there for him, for them, only then we are able to humanize the other, that even that sometimes we were lived in a narrative that dehumanized the other, or called him a monster, or even worse names. Only by looking to him in the eyes, we are able to humanize him. But even more beautifully and powerfully, we are humanizing ourselves. And that's the goal. That's what we all must achieve in the Holy Land, Israel and Palestine, Middle East, but of course, across the world. And I want to share, like, when we were doing our TED Talk, we also want to explain how to create hope. Because many people talk about hope, but how can we actually explain how to create hope in such a tragic moment and time of despair? So hope is an action. It's a verb. It's not something we can find, not here in the library, and not out in the streets. Hope is an action that we are creating together. And we create it by envisioning. We must be courageous and brave enough to envision a better future and then to act together in order to make this vision into reality. And this is exactly what we are welcome you all here to do with us. Let's envision a better future for everyone. And let's work together how to make this vision into a reality. And in your cards, please, later in the Q&A, don't ask us, Aziz and Maoz, how can you make, bless you, how can you make peace? And we believe there will be peace. We don't believe. We are working, and our aim is to achieve a lasting peace between Israelis and Palestinians by 2030. Yes, by 2030. Ask yourself, how can you support us? Ask yourself, how can you bring peace to the Holy Land and beyond? So we must partner, and we must create this hope that we all deserve, and the future we all deserve together, because only together we can make it happen. Yes.
Yep. So we were talking, this is our fourth event, I think, today. It's fun and long day. And we're talking with David, our publisher, David Drake, the president of Crown, and he said, one thing we have not been good at is, he said, we told a story, and he said, you have not told this story before. And I think it's very important. Maybe it connects to something I can read. So let me do it. Yay, if I can find the part. Yeah. You won't believe it. I had it in the right spot, and it right away jumped all the way through, but I can find it. It's, you want to say something, Maoz, while I'm looking for it? No?
Yes, I would love to. So So first, we are coming to New York again next month. My wife don't know yet, so please don't screen it, please. We are coming again next month to speak at Temple Emmanuel, and I think it's already it was already published. And we wanted to speak in Temple Emmanuel when we published the book. And it didn't came out, and we are very fortunate and honored and pleased that it will happen next month. So again, I think New York is the city we've been the most, and it's because we are heard. The message is heard. There is a demand for peace, for reconciliation, for justice, and we just find many partners here. So it's,
I'm ready.
Yeah, this is
Good.
ready.
Just say something, not a monologue. Get ready for your questions, because I think soon we passing already the questions. But this is a part I talk about being a Palestinian peacemaker, and I write in it, it is not easy being a peacemaker, but even harder is being a Palestinian peacemaker. On one hand, we must endure the daily reality of occupation, violence, and systemic oppression. On the other, we face suspicion from our own communities. People who do not see the result from our work and question whether it is useful or even harmful. Some call us normalizers or even traitors, accusing us of making the occupation more acceptable to Palestinians. Engaging with Israelis is not normalization. The real question is, what are we normalizing? If our work ignores reality of occupation, avoids difficult conversations about power, justice, and freedom, and creates false image of equality where none exists, then yes, that is normalization. But if we build partnerships that directly confront injustice, that put ending the occupation at the center, that give equal voice to both Palestinians and Israelis committed to change, then this is not normalization, it's co-resistance. And you want to say something? And I think this is a very important part of our work. This is a partnership. And one of the things I was talking today with David, he was saying, I was explaining how it's very important if you are a Palestinian peacemaker that you're able to show the community in Palestine and for Muslim and Arab communities abroad as well, how our work is not just talk and we are doing things on the ground. Whether it is through humanitarian work, whether through education, whether through any of these, you can think about a million different things that we could do. And so if you go to this QR code, for example, one of the things I'm most proud of in the last 2 years is being able to build a program for Palestinian women leadership, where 40 women this year have gotten scholarship and are part of this program in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. And more importantly, Maoz and I do zero amount of the content because 2 men should not be telling women how to be leaders.
That we learned. We have a very good teacher who taught us that. You can guess whom.
He meant our wives, but just to be clear. But it is very powerful and very important because then if you don't do that, then people would look at us and say, how is this making change on the ground? The other thing going on right now, for example, is the people who going, and this year there'll be many more going in the West Bank for the olive harvest and showing up, and as people being attacked as they picking olives, that we are there. This happened yesterday at the Jerusalem Day, where hundreds of people, Jerusalem Day is one of the worst days in Jerusalem. It sounds really good, Jerusalem Day, yeah, unity, love. It's not. It's one of the worst days in the city where radical, young, unfortunately brainwashed kids Israelis who marched through Jerusalem, attacking people, saying hateful things. And you can complain about it, which is what a lot of people do. But complaining alone doesn't change reality. Tweeting about it doesn't change reality. Some of us, I think, mistaken being a tweet expert to being an activist. Tweeting is not activism, but it's showing up. And this year, hundreds of Israelis and Palestinians, citizens of Israel, have showed up in the city of Jerusalem to protect the local community. Yeah. It's incredible. Yeah, this is how change happened.
Yeah, and I just must be very proud also of my sister and our friend Jonathan Zangen. When we wrote The Future is Peace, we actually went on an 8-day journey, the both of us, and we invited many friends and family to join us to part of the days. And this was the first time my eldest sister, Mo, was visiting the West Bank. It was the first time she witnessed the separation wall in her own eyes. The first time she was hearing Palestinian talk about the occupation, about oppression, about ethnical cleansing. And then she decided to change her life from working at the Israeli tech industry for all her adult life. She became a peacemaker, a peace activist. She now co-chair the family the Parents Circle
Families Forum,
stepping into the shoes of Aziz, because Aziz used to co-chair it at the beginning of the millennium. And she was there.
It makes me sound so old. Beginning of the millennium. About 1,000 years ago.
Come
on, Maoz, I'm not that
I'm going to use it again, Aziz, now. And she was there. She was there yesterday. And not only her, she brought more family members to stand there, to show up, to show solidarity, to show that we are the same. and we are expecting hundreds, if not maybe even more, to come to the olive harvest in October. So again, you can follow us.
Yeah, and I'll put also you can follow us personally, but we will be announcing details about the trip. First, Maoz and I leading a trip in October. You can join us in general. That will follow the journey of the book, so you can come with us for 8 days. We'll see if you still like us after. You're gonna have to listen to my music. It'll be more Arabic music. It'll be Arabic music. Okay. We'll teach you some belly dancing too and some dabke. But that's something we'd love to have you in, and you can follow Maoz and I, obviously, and we'll be announcing a lot of stuff about the olive harvest and these things. But yeah, I think peace activism is not only speaking, it's acting. But maybe we can, if we have already some questions, I'm happy to get the cards.
Till we get the cards, what I wanted to emphasize with sharing about my sister, that also Aziz and I, we weren't born peacemakers. So maybe if you are coming here to New York, being accepted and appreciated, but what about what's going on back home? So till the age of 30, I was completely ignorant to the Palestinian narrative.
This fits with what you're going to say.
Okay.
You are preaching to the choir, Maoz, but what about the people who are more extreme, Israel and Palestine, or here? Can you envision a truth and reconciliation process, what historical lessons? But you're speaking to the choir. What about those who are not?
So first, it's important to activate those who are already with us in our tent, in our camp, in our tribe, but are in despair, that are doing nothing. So only by activating us to do something, it can start with a smile, it can start with showing up, it can start with a donation, it can start with buying not only one book, but two, or three, to give to friends, and this is how we amplify, we spread a message, because when we are silent, others are using our name, speaking our name, avenging in our name, and bring more death and destruction in our name. And when I'm saying in our name, it's not a metaphor. Using my parents' name to destroy Gaza. There were bombs being dropped from Israeli aircraft that had my parents' name on it. It was the most shameful day that I can remember. But it's being done. So that's happening what happens when we are silent. So we must be very proud that we have a dream, we have a vision where we both share the land and sharing our values and our life and our future. We must be very courageous and brave, starting by activating our camp. And then if we create symbols of peace, of reconciliation, allowing people to actually recognize and acknowledge and realize what peace is, because in Israel and Palestine, we've been trapped with a multi-generation trauma, war, fear. So it's very difficult even to imagine the incentive of peace, the fruits that it will bring with, because we are trapped within our own fear. So it starts with dreaming, okay? Only by offering a bold and a brave new vision, we can start also not preach only to the choir, but start bringing more people with us. And if after October 7th, I was probably the first, or maybe among the first 5 Israelis who called to stop the war, to not even start with a ground operation. And I was alone. Even my family said, Maoz, you don't know what needs to be done. And I told them, I know. I know that war is not the answer, that war has never been the answer, and war will never be the answer. But again,
I like to tell you, Maoz didn't come out with this amazing sentence.
Yes, thank you, Aziz.
It was the great
Fela Kuti.
Yes,
the great Fela Kuti,
singer and writer
and prophet, Nigerian prophet. But I knew it. So now there are hundred thousands of Jewish Israelis and, of course, Palestinian citizens of Israel that know it for a fact. And if we'll continue together to build a coalition, to have a roadmap, to implement this roadmap, more and more, we already see it, more and more people are following us.
Yeah. I'll just add, and then I'll ask myself a question.
Easy one, easy one.
Yeah, I picked the easiest for myself and the hard ones for you. You gave me the cards. But hey, sometimes Palestinians deserve a privilege. We don't get them always. We like to tease each other, so hopefully it's okay with y'all. I was going to add on the choir, settlers have never been the majority. Hamas has never been the majority in Israel and Palestine. Even people tell you Hamas won the elections, not majority of votes, plurality of votes, but not majority of votes. And same with settlers. They've never been the majority, and yet they both control our lives. So you don't have to always be the majority to change reality. It takes dedication, not being a majority. It takes activism, not being a majority. It takes being plugged in, showing up. And if there's enough research that says if 3.5% do that, change happens. 3.5%. And we have way more than 3.5% to agree with us. They just agree with us and live in despair and not getting out of their home. So the goal is to get people out of their bubble and say, start speaking up, start saying something, start showing up, and things will change. And that's true for America too, not only for Israel, not just for Palestine. Okay, my question, Aziz, do foreign activists for Palestine or Israel do more harm? I think it depends. They can do good and they do harm. If they are preaching hate, obviously they do more harm. But I do want to say, without the diaspora, those who care about Palestine and those who care about Israel, without the diaspora, Jewish, Muslim, Arab, we are screwed. We need people in America. We need people in Europe. The reason we wrote the book in English, The Future is Peace, is because we understand the importance of you. And it's from other conflicts. I've worked in many regions around the world, many conflicts in the world. I'll just name one. Is Yuval here? Yuval Or? You said you're coming. No. Okay, I'm shaming you publicly, yes. Yuval.
I think you can fire him.
Okay, I'll tell him. He's my co-director. Here he is. Okay.
There is a seat here, Yuval.
You come in. Well.
Yeah.
Okay, Yuval is my co-director of my next project. I'm working on a film in Northern Ireland, which is walk in. Come on, it's okay. Walk of shame. Daria, you can come in too. There are 2 seats, I promise. And one of the things the two of us have learned.
Yeah. We get it for you. Yeah, for you.
So Yuval and I co-direct a documentary that will be out hopefully by the end of the year. And it's focused on Northern Ireland, Israel and Palestine, and what we're learning from each other. Long story, I'm not going to go in details. But one of the things we learned, and we were told by many people there, if it wasn't for the Irish diaspora here, people in the US, shifting their mindset, because they weren't always also supportive of peace process. The IRA was getting weapons from here. But then who do you think pushed Clinton to send George Mitchell? He didn't wake up one day, and I know people in New York might like Clinton, but he didn't wake up one day and go, you know what, peace in Northern Ireland, that's what I care about. That's not how politics work. It was the diaspora who went to him and said, you better get this done. And they pressured him, and that's how George Mitchell ended up there. And so to the Jewish community, to the Muslim community, to the Arab community, instead of fighting against each other, which happens way too often, we need to come together and go to this administration, not the next one, not wait until we have somebody we think will be good. To this administration, say, stop this nonsense. This is what's happening there right now is not a ceasefire. This needs to stop. So that's what the foreign activists need to do. Okay, Maoz, next question for
The
you.
tough one. Thank you.
No, I'll give you something harder. Okay, you like this one, so it's not hard. Maoz, justice is often made as a reason for violence and retaliation. What is your definition of justice?
Wow. Okay, thank you. Who asked this question? Amazing. So this is where Aziz and I had like a disagreement for a very, very long time. Aziz was saying like the values I believe in are equality and peace and justice and dignity. And I was keep telling him, Aziz, I don't know what justice is. I just don't know. How can we bring justice to your brother Taysir? How can we bring justice to my parents? I don't know what justice is. So I told him, Aziz, if you say justice, you say, I believe in justice. You cannot say we. So we had like, and we were talking about it. And we were asked this question before we agreed and said, we don't agree about justice. And then I was very fortunate to meet not only 3 popes, but also many Jewish faith leaders. And I came from the most secular background you can even imagine. But through the teaching I received and through the transformation I went through since losing my parents, I learned that in Judaism, there are only 2 orders that Judaism is ordering us to pursue. It's not the Shabbat. It's not kosher food. It's not to prayer. To pursue justice and peace. So since that moment, I start saying, Aziz, from now on, we both can say that we believe in justice and peace and dignity and equality. And for me, justice is a just future. We cannot, and that's what I shared earlier today at the joint Nakba Memorial.
We still disagree a little on that.
Okay. I don't know how we can bring justice to the hundreds of villages that were ruined in 48 and still being ruined nowadays. Definitely Gaza is completely destroyed and in the West Bank. I don't know how we can bring justice to the 100,000s of Palestinians that were and are still being displaced. But we can create a just future where we all are equal. We all are living within security and safety and within dignity. So justice is something we must pursue and never give up, never be in despair, because we all deserve and we can and we will bring justice to the Holy Land.
All right. My question, I picked not an easy one. How do you interact with people that deny someone's lived reality? Is recognizing truth necessary for peace to humanize the other? I.e., when people say the IDF is a humanitarian organization that only operate with kindness. Okay, I think this is an important question. We see reality often different. I tell you, I watch American TV sometimes, and I'm like, we are scary Arab people. If I believe everything on American television, I'm like, I'm not going back home. These people are terrifying. That is, people are a product of what we consume. And we consume a lot of garbage when it comes to the stories we're being told, the narratives we're being told. There's a reason when Maoz and I did the Daily Show, the comments under were actually incredible. They're like, why do we not see people like this? We didn't know people like this exist. Now, I like to tell you Maoz and I are unique, sadly, or maybe good thing, we are not. We're not the only 2 people who do this work. But there's a reason people don't hear those kind of stories. So yes, it is important to understand reality. And to do that, we have to search. Don't judge people that they don't understand it, because it's not because they are evil, it's because this is what they've been told. And so it takes sharing stories, connecting with them, not fighting with them. I like debates. Actually, Maoz doesn't like as much. I enjoy debates. And I find myself having often to take myself a little step back and realize I almost never convince somebody of something because I had a great argument. I have, though, by telling a story. And so when people disconnected from reality, tell them some of the stories you will read in the future's piece. Tell them some of the stories that you heard tonight. We are putting together a website, you can already go to it, called dualnarrative.org, that tells different narratives from Israelis and Palestinians, so we learn about each other. We will put together an education platform soon when the film is out that will tell many of those stories as well. So we will create content for you so you can share it and hopefully bring people to have some kind of shared reality. But don't argue with them, because if somebody tells you something that you see outlandish, nothing you will say as in, but you are wrong because 1, 2, 3 and this statistic. I can tell you, never did I meet somebody who changed their mind because I shared a statistic. And maybe it's sad because those statistics are important, but they don't work on people's hearts. So you got to first move the heart before you move the mind.
Yeah, I want also to comment on that and to share one of the most difficult questions and denial I witnessed.
This is your last.
Okay. Thank you.
You have 1.5 minutes.
We are enjoying it until Stacy, our publicist, tell us that we need to go. We can stay.
Yeah, we'll be
we
here
are
for a
already
good
late
time.
for a Shabbat dinner. So few weeks after October 7th, I was drinking coffee with my best Palestinian friend. She knew my parents.
I thought I was your best Palestinian.
That's before.
He's cheating on me. Oh wait, you're cheating on her with me.
And she knew my parents so well. She was at the Shiva a few times. And then a few weeks after, she was drinking coffee, and she's telling me, Maoz, maybe it wasn't the Hamas who killed your parents. Maybe it was a crossfire by the IDF. And I knew for a fact that it was Hamas. That we knew it for a fact. And it was like being punched in the stomach. She was denying my narrative. She was denying what happened to my parents only a few weeks before. It took me good 10, 15 minutes to catch my breath again. And I told her, what does it matter? What does it matter? Who killed? Who pushed the trigger? Who's in charge? Who's accountable? Who's to blame? My parents are dead. Do you want to work with me to ensure no other human being would lose their life because of the conflict, the violence, the bloodshed? Or do you want to argue regarding the reality or the past? So we don't necessarily, and of course she agreed with me. And she said, of course I'm with you. But I refuse to debate. I refuse to argue or to prove that she was wrong. And we don't need to agree about the present or the past. We need to acknowledge that there is another reality, that there is another past, there is another narrative, but we should focus on the future. And we must, and we can, and we already finding a shared future. So some people will deny your history or your narrative, but let's focus on the future. Let's focus on what's in common. And like we started, we have so much in common between Israelis and Palestinians. And yes, one of the questions was, who is making a better hummus?
I am.
Of course. But what matters is that we all love hummus.
Not chocolate hummus, though. Not chocolate hummus. That's an abomination. Yeah.
I think it's a great way to...
I was in the kitchen with Maoz's daughter, and we cooked shakshuka together, and it was incredible. She is a wonderful chef, 15 years old, wonderful chef. All right, so thank you, Maoz.
Thank you, Aziz.
I want, before we finish, just to acknowledge so many friends in the room. So Josie and Stacy, who I worked with in curation before, and thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Yuval, who I'm doing co-directing with. Cheryl, who's on the board of Interact. I don't know if Summer and Clarissa are here. Hold on. Summer and Clarissa from Pan America. Thank you for being here. Obviously, Winona, who this book would not have happened without her.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm forgetting some people.
Now I must also.
Hold on. And in new friends like Sarah, who's being here as well, and hopefully we're gonna do a lot of stuff together. So happy that you're here.
Stacy in the green room. Yeah.
Yes, Stacy in the.
And Rauya, that in Israel we don't have the opportunity to meet, but today we met already twice.
Rauya from Haifa.
And Weeping, are you here? Yeah, yes. Weeping, we met this morning at the coffee, and we already become friends. So peace can bring people together. This is the beauty. Peace, justice, reconciliation can bring people from China, from Australia, from all over the world, from Palestine, for Israel. It can bring humanity together. So if it's there, why not to use it? Why not to use the power of peace?
Amen. So, last thing, we are over time, but last thing, if you're getting a book or if you're not getting a book, we have those outside. You have two bookmarks. One is a boarding pass. I have some good ideas. There's a reason I was a curator with you. And we have a mandala that Maoz's mother made, which says on it, all our dreams can come true if we have I'm like reading from memory, if we have the courage to chase them. So get that. And the other side has a lot of words of wisdom. Most importantly, it has Aziz Abu Sarah. No, I'm joking. I am in. But most importantly, these are the old ones. No, it does. It has Pope Francis, let us not sow death, destruction, or fear. Let us sow hope. And the boarding pass has a poem in Arabic in the back and my photo that you saw. And we have the poem also in English. And the destination, obviously, is peace. It has QR code where you can find us. And I want to end with reading you the poem. And again, we'll be here for the next half an hour, 40 minutes. The poem is by Samih Al-Qasim, called Travel Tickets. And it says, the day I'm killed, my killer rifling through my pockets will find travel tickets. One to peace, one to the fields and the rain, and one to the conscience of humankind. So I beg you, my dear killer, don't ignore them. Don't waste such a thing, but take and use the tickets. Please, I beg you, to go traveling. And this is why we are here with you today, is to beg you to come traveling with us and this peace-building journey. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow.